Hello, so please come onto the floor as always, but this time on your front side, if that's possible. Also, I put the text, the description of the lesson in the beginning of the video, so when you pause the video you can read what we're going to do and what's the purpose of the lesson. So I don't have to talk so much in the beginning, so I'm experimenting with this new style, going right into the lesson. So we start on the front side. In prone position, you can come onto your front side. In your bed, for example, this lesson works in your bed. Bed is more soft, more forgiving, because a hard floor like this, it's easier to get like feedback from the ground, and every little detail will be noticeable. So you could call this hard floor, hardcore. And then please bring down your head onto your mat. Maybe like a nice little towel, your favorite blanket. So it's nice to put your cheek onto and find out which side is more comfortable to you. If you would like to have your head turned not in the center, so you have to find, if the neck, there's other lessons for the neck, but you should have your head turned to either side, and maybe you already notice which side is nicer. You have a favorite side. Maybe you're not entirely sure which side is your favorite, but we will find out soon enough. And then have, as a next step, have your knees bent, both knees 90 degrees, so that your lower legs are like standing poles, 2 poles. And your feet, you see, feel first, feel how you have your feet. If your feet the toes are pointing towards the ceiling, or hardly anyone will have the toes pointing towards the floor. When you relax your ankles, and as a first movement, focus on your right ankle and just begin to bend and extend your right foot, your ankle. Yeah, so it's a movement in your right ankle. Find a way to do that without bending your toes. So leave your toes alone and just make this a movement of your ankle. So in physical therapy they call it dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. So both directions seem to be flexion, but one direction is the toes closer to the ceiling and the heel closer to the floor, and the other direction is the other way. Oh. And then, after you're into this a little bit, turn your head to the other side. So lift your head, bring it over to the other side, but keep working with your right ankle. So it's always your right ankle, but once your head is to one side and then the head is to the other side, so that's still a fairly loose connection between the head and the ankle. If you haven't already played with your right ankle in a way that you make the movement faster, try that, or slower, or smaller, or bigger. Try to have a good feeling for where is your neutral, so where your right ankle is neither flexed nor extended. So that's a movement easy to remember. The head on the floor, turned to either side. You can, like I've been playing with this movement for the last 2 weeks. Did I have some deep insights? Yeah, I did. And as always, if you find something, you please share it in the comments so that we all can benefit from what you found about this movement. So what do we do next? Next, please just have a rest on your back. So turn into supine position onto your backside and see if you can feel a difference between your right side or your right foot, your right ankle, your right hip joint. If you perceive the length of your right side different than on the left side. And then please come back onto your front side in prone position. Just have to make sure that the floor is even, because if the floor is uneven, maybe you're feeling the floor and not what's going on inside yourself. All right, so you're on your front side, turn your head either way, to the right or to the left, have both knees bent. And this time, tilt your right foot over towards the right, which means your right lower leg, which is standing like a pole, starts to tilt to the floor and back up again to neutral, where it's standing vertically. And see your image for this movement, your internal image. So your hands are somewhere next to your head on the floor. So the arms are not down and the arms are not up, but just somewhere like this, up next to your head. And the movement is the right lower leg tilting to the right. So the right foot comes closer to the floor. And let's say right from the beginning, think of your skeletal image. Like this, it's a rotation in your right hip joint. And from your hip joint, there's like a straight line to your right knee. And then from your right knee, you have a straight line to your right foot. And this last straight line is tilting outwards. The knee, of course, stays where it is. It's like you can feel your upper leg rolling on the floor. And then turn your head to the other side. So one cheek is on the floor. And continue with this movement of having your right lower leg tilt to the right. And see if you can perceive if there's a difference in tilting, a difference somewhere in your body, whether your head is to the left or to the right. So it's always the right foot, that's the right lower leg that's tilting to the right, but your head is either to the right or to the left, and does it make a difference? And to which side should the head be turned? What matches, like a puzzle, what matches? Would it make more sense for the head to be turned to the right or to the left? And try if you can already feel the answer. Like, not so much intellectually, but if you can feel if one side, turn the head to the left or to the right, makes more congruent, like a gestalt. And then take a short rest. So we're going to work on the tilting a little bit and see how it translates up to your head. I could turn like this. So let's improve the tilting a little bit. So have your head turned to the left, your hands next to your head, and start to tilt your right lower leg again towards the right. But instead of just tilting the right lower leg, also do the first movement with the flexion and extension of the right foot. So you have like 3 movements: the extension, the flexion, and the tilting. And where's your rhythm? Do you have like a rhythm for those? Do you think of this movement as like 2 movements, like tilting and flexion and extension, or is it like 3 movements? Is it like 3 different rhythms, 2 rhythms? Do you continually flex and extend while you tilt, or do you tilt and extend and tilt back? See, there's ways to play with this movement. And have your head turned to the left on the floor. And amazingly, for most people, combining these movements will make the tilting better, will make it easier to tilt the right lower leg to the right. Is it? Is it? Okay, then let's take another rest in any old position you like. Now, we continue. So this time again, have your head turned to the left, your hands next to your head, your right knee bent, and this time your left leg extended. So instead of having both legs, both knees bent, the left one is extended, resting on the floor. And continue with the same movement, tilting the right lower leg towards the right and returning it. But we have a slightly different position, a slightly different configuration. Head to the left, hands next to the head, left leg extended and tilting. See, that it's different, but what is different? Why is it like in music you have like the scales, C, D, E, F, G, and what's the difference here in movement when you have your left leg extended? What kind of differences does this produce for example, the rolling of your pelvis, or for the tilting of your right leg? Or how does this movement translate through your ribs, chest, like the whole structure, spinal structure, of course, and all the rest, tendons and muscles and everything? What difference does it make to have your left leg extended while you do the same movement? Of course, you can bend your left knee to see how it was, to remember how it was, and then extend the left leg again to see, just to feel, to notice in movement, not just intellectually, but to notice in movement this little detail. So it's a small detail. It's like, seems like a minor thing, but it's my body, it's your body, it's your nervous system. Why isn't this like the most interesting thing? These kind of differences. Okay, and then let's introduce another variation, of course. So this time, tilt your right leg to the outside slowly and return fast. So your right foot walks out slowly and you return fast so that your right foot is standing again. And keep your left leg extended. And when you return it fast, of course, there's other muscles at play. Suddenly, you will feel like the buttocks or your upper leg muscles like engage. When you return quickly, it's like a different mechanics. That's yeah. Slowly to the outside and come back quick. And you go to the outside slowly, 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 and you come back quick. Just quickly come back and see how this is different from slowly. And maybe you become like this, you become more aware of what's happening in the normal tilting when you tilt to the outside and to the inside slowly. Through a variation, through looking at it from a different perspective, through introducing a variation, we can learn more about the original movement. And of course, you might already had this idea yourself. You could bring the leg out fast. Be careful with the hip joint if you have a hip problem. This could be dangerous. So make it maybe slowly, or take good care of yourself. So you can bring it out slowly and return quickly, or out quickly and return slowly. And every time we do this to notice, to learn something, to become aware of how this body works. That's a never-ending story, isn't it? And probably that's a good thing. How boring would it be if we knew everything about ourselves, and then what is left to explore when there's nothing left to learn? Like if you wouldn't be able to learn a new dance, a new piece of music. So it's like when you're not able to learn any new movements, what kind of world would this be? So yeah, and then take a break. Where do we break? Do we break on the back? Let's come to lie onto the back. And also notice if you feel a difference between your right side and your left side, your right hip joint, your left hip joint, the rotation of your right leg, if it's different than the left one. If you look at your feet, it's like one foot pointing more towards the outside than the other, and one foot foot pointing more towards the ceiling. And then, und dann, please come back onto your belly, your front side. We continue again with the head to the left. So the hands are next to the head, but this time bring your right arm downwards. Head to the left hand in front of your nose, left leg extended. Right knee bent, right arm downwards alongside your body, and start with the same movement to tilt your right lower leg towards the right and see if the arm position, so of course you have to melt to the floor, you have to relax to the floor, and see if your arm position makes any difference. Let's play with these arm positions. So bring your right hand back to the back of your head and see if that makes a difference for tilting. Or, to go into the other direction, extend your right hand overhead, the whole right arm overhead, and continue with the same movement. So bring your right arm into different positions and see if the right arm can have, so if your pelvis can roll better. So if your pelvis can roll better towards the right, of course. So maybe your left hip joint starts to lift up. Maybe the left hip joint starts to lift up a little bit. And if you have the right arm up, maybe your hip. My pelvis does not roll as well when the right arm is up, but that might be just me. So see how it is for you. And then, what about the left arm? So the right arm up and the left arm down. Let's try this. Try this position. The right arm up, the left arm down. Try this unusual position. It's like, maybe it's like swimming. And always with the same movement, with the right lower leg tilting towards the right. Or bring your left hand, maybe in a push-up position. And just don't really push up, but just feel how it is to have your left hand in this kind of position. Or your right arm wherever. And what we are after is these different sensations to learn more about movement. What kind of movement has what kind of position has what kind of effect on the same. I wouldn't call it so simple, the movement of the right hip joint, or at least on the same movement. And then at some point, of course, I'll take a break again. We'll have a rest. Also take good care of your neck so that your neck doesn't start to hurt when you always have your head turned to the left. So sometimes maybe turn your head to the right. Just take good care of yourself. I have this wide angle lens. I bought it just for fun and I didn't use it so much, but I think it's quite a lot of fun and it's such a sharp glass. So I decided to use this lens so it doesn't sit in my cupboard all the time, to use this lens for this video. I think it's quite good, isn't it? Yeah. What's our next movement? I remember one thing, like we're on the front side a lot, and if your lower back hurts or feels irritated from all this extensive being on the front side, you could come onto your back side for a moment and do like a slight flexion movement where you hold your knees and lift your head. You know how we do these kind of things, where you have your interlaced hands between your head, behind your head. Just a nice little flexion movement to counteract the extensive extension we're in. So please come to lie into a prone position again. We continue with the lesson, this time with the hands again next to your head. The head, of course, turned to the left. Both knees bent, the knees spread comfortably apart and the feet together. So that's our starting position. And then what's next? Tilt, of course. Tilt your right lower leg to the right and let your left foot slide alongside your right lower leg, the inside edge of your right lower leg. And feel how that feels like, how that is like. For the tilting, for your pelvis, for how the movement travels up your spine to your neck, and then at some point leave your legs tilted towards the right. Yeah. So this is going to be our new home position. The legs tilted over to the right. Yep. And the next movement is to bring the left leg back to standing, the left lower leg back to standing, and keep the right foot tilted to the right. For me, this is one of the most interesting movements of the whole lesson. I think this is so genius, such an interesting move. So you have your both feet tilted to the right, and you only return the left one back to standing, so the right one keeps being tilted to the outside. My God, this is so intelligent. So it's like your mom when you were a kid, your mom or your dad or whoever you trusted most, you went together to some place and then this person made sure you're safe and left you on your own for a bit. So you are the right leg, the other person is the left leg. And then the left leg returns to your right one again. And when you do this a couple of times, so when your right leg is on its own for a couple of times while the left lower leg returns to the standing position, I think this makes it even easier for the right lower leg to tilt further and smoother towards the right. Let's try this. Take a short rest. It's like 30 degrees Celsius in my apartment. I switched off the air condition because I don't want you to hear the sound of the air conditioner all the time, but this makes me sweat terribly. So that's why my hair is getting wet and my t-shirt and everything is getting wet. So take a short break and then have your head turned to the left, your hands next to your head, bend both knees, and only tilt your right lower leg to the right and see how is it now. When you tilt your right lower leg, see all the things you are aware of now and how much smoother it is than in the beginning. And maybe it's further and you can feel how it affects, and it's more clear that actually it makes sense to have the head to the left, does it? We will do more about this. So there's a couple of more movements we could do, but also this lesson could end here, because I'm sure you by now felt this connection between your right lower leg tilting to the right and your pelvis rolling, so your left hip joint coming up and your head to the right. It makes sense. But we can do a couple of bigger movements just to round up this lesson to make it even more clear. Let's do this. So please turn your head to the left. Turn your head to the left. The left hand in front of your face, the right arm up. And tilt your both legs to the right and try to bring both feet on, or the right foot onto the floor to your right and back again. So yeah, so this is the movement. The head is to the left, right arm is extended upwards, left hand next to your head, both feet tilt to the right, and see if you can bring the right foot down onto the floor on your right side. And remember this feeling, but don't roll onto your right side. Don't do that. Just do the twist. It's time to twist again. So you twist and you come back. Okay. So, and then next time, keep your knees together. We have this invisible tape to keep the knees together, keep the feet together, and do the same movement. Bring your right foot, so your left knee lifts off the floor, and think of being long. So find length throughout your body. Being long. Yeah. Remember this feeling of having your right side on the floor. And see if you can touch down your feet to the right. See if your chest can accommodate this movement. If your chest can twist and do all the things that are necessary for this movement to happen. Next, place your hands in a push-up position, like this. A push-up position, and we do the same thing. Keep the knees together. So now we have the push-up, and now you already know how to do it, so we can do this. And then when your feet are to the right, turn your head to the right. Oh, so that's kind of a big movement. So we start like this, and then feet go to the right, and then you turn the head to the right. So there's no insurance company safeguarding us here, so be very careful with your neck, please, when you do this. Do turn your head only as far as it's comfortable for you. So this is why the head is to the left, because it's such a strong twist. So when you do this movement and you turn the head, So you do this a couple of times, you do approximation, you don't try to succeed perfectly in the first time, which wouldn't make any sense. Why do it perfect? And step by step, become better at turning the head and returning the head. And then let's try the whole thing to the... See, I'm taking a break. So it seems like I'm giving instructions, but I'm taking a break actually. So this is what's happening. While you are moving, I'm taking a break. Look at that. We should take a break together. Let's do this. Please come to lie onto your back. Just take a break together. Oh, all right. So for the last, let's say the last two movements, let's first do the same. Do a couple of these explorations onto the other side. So have your head turned to the right, the hands next to your head. Your both knee bent, and start to tilt your left. Oh, the lower leg towards the left. Oh my God, this is. So now you see how good you became on the right side. So now it's the left side's turn, but because you already did it on the right side, you know what's going to happen. You know what you have to do, and so it's faster. Yeah. Think, move, sense, feel. Do a couple of anything that you remember from the other side. All right, and then we put both sides together in one big movement, which would be, how do we do this? So, are you ready for the finale, for the big last movement? So, let's get into a starting position. Have your hands in a push-up position. Your head turned to the left, both knees bent, both knees tight together, and start to tilt both lower legs towards the right until they're on the right. Then turn your head to the right and return your lower legs to standing, and then tilt your lower legs to the left. Yeah, so we made a full turn. Then turn your head back to the right. Bring your lower legs to stand. What a big twist. And then the lower legs to the right. And again, you don't have to do like, always bring your head and neck in a position where it's still comfortable. Never push your limits. That's a big difference to other disciplines, I know, but it's not a big difference to our real life. So if you have a conversation with another person, we stay in a zone where it's comfortable, where we have a good time to chat, to exchange. And when one person is too stressed, too loud, too angry, too sad, too extreme, it's no good anymore, the conversation. It starts to be tiring. So a conversation grows when we're comfortable, when we are in a comfort zone, and then the topics get bigger. We have access to ourselves and the other person, and in this conversation with ourselves through movement, we stay in the comfort zone. We're nice, we are attentive, and in this way we make progress, not by pushing the limits. How's that for the philosophy part of this lesson? So please be careful, just go as far as you're comfy, as long as you feel like you have a good conversation. And this is getting smoother and smoother, and I think the movements are fairly easy to remember. So after you completed this video, you can do this on your own, in the morning, in the bed, or in the evening, or some days later. Have fun with exploring. What do we do? Take a short break and try the first movement again. Have your head to the left, both knees bent, and just tilt your right lower leg and see if you can feel the connection. So it makes sense to have the head to the left, but actually, finally, after all these movements, you discover it doesn't make that much difference whether you have the head to the left or to the right. Oh, and it's so much smoother. Okay, so I conclude for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. If you like this video, please leave your like, leave your comments. All right, so until I see you again, please take good care of yourself and see you in the next video. Oh, and also please come up and see how it is in standing, how your right hip joint is supporting you now in standing and in walking. And now, tilt your right lower leg to the right. So you move your right foot towards me, but you keep the right knee where it is. Don't move the right knee, don't extend the right knee, but just tilt your right lower leg towards the right. So the right foot comes closer to the floor, but don't extend the knees. Flex the right knee 90 degrees. The right knee 90 degrees. Okay. So this is the starting position, 90 degrees. Okay. And then bring your right foot to the right. Move the right foot to the right. The right foot in space to the right. This is to the left. Okay, yes, and bring it back. But don't move your ankle. Move the entire right foot to the right by, it's a rotation in your hip joint actually. So you bring the right foot closer to the floor. But don't move your ankle. Move your entire lower leg. So this is a different movement than before. So you move your, no, don't move the ankle, but tilt. So So tilting means you bring the yes to the outside and back again. So it's a movement in the hip joint.
Okay.
Exactly. So continue, do this. Yes, until you have a feeling for this movement, like an internal image. That's a rotation in your hip joint. Your upper leg rolls on the floor. Yes, there's a tilting of the foot to the side.